Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How is it going, my friend? My name is Talia Joy. Welcome back to this cozy space. Welcome back. Today we are talking about something that I want to say ruffle some feathers, but it also will not. My intention always with these episodes is to present you with something, tools, concepts, education, whatever it is, to have you be more self-aware, or for you to take something I say and have your own thoughts and relate it to your own experience and integrate it into your life if it resonates. So this is one of those things that I actually think it's really important to talk about, how trusting the universe is not a strategy when we have goals that we want to achieve. I'll put it that way, right? We're going to dive obviously deep into it. So you've probably heard, and I've even said, and you've probably lived by, trust the universe. The universe has our back. And I am going to talk about the power of being guided, of co-creation, of leaning in, of trusting that the universe has your back, and how there is truth to that. But I'm also going to talk about how when it becomes a strategy, we can get stuck in a freeze state. We're also not clear on what's going on. And I sometimes with myself, I get this feeling of like, okay, I'm trusting the universe, but it's taken a really long time. So like maybe there's something else here. And so this is what I'm talking about is trust without aligned action isn't trust, it's spiritual bypassing. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how sometimes we can be in a freeze and it's easier to not act than to actually go for it. I'm also going to break down the difference and we'll talk about co-creation. The difference between co-creation and passivity, being passive. And this is that fine line in the middle of it's not avoiding, but it's not so strong in we're neglecting ourselves and neglecting our, bodies and neglecting whatever. And we're just almost stubborn with our blinders on. That's good to a point as well. So we're going to talk about that in between line, but primarily how trusting the universe is not a strategy when it comes to your goals, when it comes to what you want out of life. So we're going to talk about how we actually go after those things while, yes, integrating the co-creation, but also getting it moving, right? Like we're good, we're ready, we have matured, we've done a lot of healing, a lot of growing. You don't have to heal everything in order to manifest, I promise you that. So I'm excited to talk about this today. And I want to address how, again, in the last episode, I talked about how I am not here as consistently as I have been for over 4 years. Guys, I don't know where you came into this journey, but for over 4 years, I've posted 2 episodes a week. I sometimes think of like, talk about hustle, talk about going. And after that long, and also with the summer, my kids are home, my schedule's all over the place. I just literally don't have the hours I had when they're in school. I've had to surrender to things. And so I'm here when I'm here and I'm excited to show up and share. And something that I think I've shared before, but I will never show up if it's not good energy. If I'm not ready, sometimes I'm deep and sometimes I'm more serious and soft and sometimes I'm like pumped. But no matter what, I will not show up here on the mic if I'm in an like yucky type vibe. And I've been going through a lot, as I've been saying. It's goo, it's emergence, it's chrysalis, it's wet. I don't know. It's messy. And so I haven't been as awesome and as on it. And sometimes in my life, I'm like, I don't want to be an inspiration or an example or anything right now, even as far as parenting and all the things. I'm an imperfect human parenting, and I have clients and I have podcasts, and it means a lot to me that I show up in integrity with what I'm talking about. So anyway, we're not going to keep blabbing, but I am here. I am excited. And I want to say, if joining me on the retreat in September has been on your heart, time's a ticking. We are getting close. I can feel you out there. I would love to share this space with you where we're going to really take what we're talking about here, inspiration into action, intuitive downloads into your real life, integrated healing into ascension, like really moving it forward because we are ready. So it's going to be rest and coming back to center and breath and present moment with the lens of pulling back to catapult forward in more authenticity, more wealth, more, feeling like you know who you are and what you're here for and what you're doing. It's a deep process, but it's also going to be extremely fun and liberating with lots of space. So come join me in Canada. I would love to see you there. The The link is below. And yeah, I can't wait. If you have any questions, email me. All the information's below. Okay, with that, let's dive into today's episode. Okay, we're going to start with a story that you may have heard before. There's a man whose town is flooding. Water is rising fast. He climbs up to his roof and he prays on his roof, God, save me. And he's praying to God and he's praying to Jesus and he's saying, please save me. And a neighbor comes by in a truck and says, hey, hop in, I'll get you out. And the man goes, no, thanks. I'm good. God's going to save me. I'm just going to keep praying. The water keeps rising. A rescue boat comes and says, get in, buddy. Like, everyone's out. What are you doing? P.S. What are you doing? Get in. We'll take you to safety. And again, the man says, no, I'm good. God's going to save me. Come on, God, come through for me. Eventually, the man is clinging to the roof. A helicopter drops a rope and goes, this is your last chance. We're leaving. And he goes, no, thanks. God's going to save me. So he drowns, right? He's underwater at this point. He gets all the way up to heaven, goes through his little, process, gets up to heaven and says, God, what the heck? Why didn't you save me? I had faith in you. I had trust in you. And God says, dude, that may or may not be a direct quote. I sent you a truck, a boat, a helicopter. What more were you waiting for? And this is the thing that really sums it up perfectly. This is the concept. We can't wait for clarity and wait for a sign and wait for the next step when that waiting replaces action, replaces going forward into the things that your heart's been calling you toward or that you deep down know would be good, would be expansive, would be bold, would be in self-love. So we'll get to that, how we navigate this and how we move forward, not just trusting, but also co-creating. But I just think that story, sometimes in our life, we're like, no, like the same book comes to us 4 different times, but it's about some sort of cleanse. And you're like, no, I'm not really ready for that. Or, some spiritual text. And you're like, no, I'm not ready for that. Or a concept or whatever. We peel ourselves back like onions. But sometimes, actually, I'm going to say all the time, my guides are saying, no, literally all the time. Life is offering you solutions, but we need to be able to say, yes, I'll take the rope. I'll get in the boat, right? Like the way that my guides have explained it to me is like your spirit team, God, nature embodied, goddess, whatever you feel and pray to, they can't just descend on you out of nowhere, right? Like that's literally a horror movie where we wake up and like grandpa's at the end of the bed. Like that's literally the thing that kids fear, that we all fear, let's be honest. That actually prevented me from wanting to explore my gifts when I was a kid. That exact image of like, I don't want to wake up and like have grandpa there. Like that's what I thought it was, because that's terrifying. So they can't go around moving life for you. Like, they are non-physical. So what they do, spirit, life force energy, your personal spirit guides, they guide you. And sometimes they're giving you a rope. They're giving you song lyrics that just really hit home, or the same, like I said, book being offered 3-4 times. And we're like, no, I'm good. I'm waiting for a sign. And someone's like, you should read this Gabor Mate book, or have you heard of this? I think you'd like it, or it's about what we were talking about. Okay. And then you're off looking for butterflies just because that would affirm it. But life is actually trying to move past and through the affirmation stage into the taking action stage. You feel me? We often get the same sign or the same nudge or the same knowing deep down. Like, oh, I need to be stretching, and the body starts hurting more and more. Or even I'm thirsty, until you're like more and more and more thirsty to big things. This relationship isn't working and you ignore it and it's more and more and more. And listen, that's human nature for real. That's what we all do. I'm real good at that cycle. But life is trying to pull you out with a rope. We have to almost stop going back to the beginning, going, okay, I'm just going to put an intention out there and trust. It's like life is saying you got to take action now. And that kind of ties into the episode I did a few ago about how manifestation, I forget exactly what it was called, but is self-growth with like sprinkles. It's not that you don't have to go through the growth. You have to accept the rope and climb up to save yourself. But life will offer you opportunities always. In the spiritual community, I'm sure you've heard it, even in the self-growth community, but particularly spiritual, you've definitely been told or heard, just trust the process. If it's meant for you, it will find you. If it's meant for you, it'll just show up for you. Don't force anything, right? And these are partial truths. I know you know what I'm talking about. There's truth to this. We're not going around forcing stuff and jamming things and really trying, you want to have that co-creation energy. But when it becomes, like I said at the beginning, when it becomes so much that you're like, okay, divine timing is freaking taking forever, and you actually can admit or reflect or become aware within yourself that you've been shut down, you've been frozen, you've been in fear, you've been in lack and scarcity or avoidance or whatever. Just not even, it's not about calling yourself out. There's no shame. It's about becoming aware. You know what? Today, I feel like I really want to start moving forward on that thing. Not just more healing, not just more awareness or more journaling, but actual action to move yourself forward. And if we're not taking action, there's usually something there. There's usually something there that's stopping us from doing that. And I'll share a little bit as we go through about what I've been going through as well, because this has been happening to me, this freeze state of like, I don't really know, I don't have clarity, so I'm just not going to do anything, but it all feels very overwhelming. And again, I've been going through a lot personally, so of course it's going to affect everything. But when we just freeze and don't take action because we don't know what the steps are, we don't feel clear, we don't feel confident. And this is usually what's going on. So when you're told just trust the process, if it's meant to you, it'll find you. But again, think of that parable, that story. That guy was on the roof and a rope dropped down. So like if it's meant for you, it will find you. It is true, but you also have to actually use your muscles and hold on, right? So when we're in this freeze, when we are in this state of just trusting, and that's kind of all we've got going on, what's often happening is we are avoiding, and I just want to say, because I'm an empath and all the things, I want to say if you see yourself in this, I do too. So there's absolutely no shame. I am never the mentor, coach, guide who ever shames or says, you know what you're doing? You're really avoidant. Because what's important is that we see it and we shroud ourselves in love. And we go, wow, I have been avoiding making hard decisions. I have been avoiding taking responsibility or even just taking action or looking after myself or whatever it is. That actually we can give love to and heal through it. But usually that's what's going on. We're avoiding taking an action. We're waiting for clarity before, right? We're kind of say like, well, when I know what to do, then I'll feel confident to move forward. But that can be a huge trap. We're hoping that clarity will magically arrive so that we can feel safe, confident, again, clear on what we're doing. So we convince ourselves to be patient, but really we're frozen. Big hug. If you can, give yourself a little hug right now, like wrap your arms around yourself and just go, good, this is important. This is us feeling ourselves with love and actually moving forward, because there is no shame in healing, in moving forward. We just become aware. So let's talk a little bit about that freeze state and the nervous system. And this is totally what has been happening with me before I even recognized it. I can give language to it now, but I feel like 6 months ago, it was already starting to happen. So it doesn't always look like freeze state I'm talking about, doesn't always look like lying on the couch, unable to move. It doesn't always look like just, watching Netflix and doing nothing, although it definitely can. You can definitely find yourself watching way more like YouTube things or Netflix or whatever when you're in a freeze, but it's not necessarily that you're physically frozen. We can be mothers and fathers and go to work and have families and look like we are functioning. But it can look like procrastinating by researching something over and over again instead of actually just acting, Or a good one that I catch myself in is like, I spend more time, I'm like chuckling. Oh, I'm authentic. Here we are. I spend more time like trying to, okay. Oh, it's okay. No shame. Blah. I spend more time trying to make the plan than taking the action. It's almost like, okay, again, let's start back at square one. My health plan. We got to plan it all out before I'll go for the walk. And it's just funny. So I say this in love. I'm hugging myself. This is the journey. So it can look like that. It can look like spinning. That was a tongue twister. Spinning in indecision. Like, oh, if I do this, oh, but if I do that, and just staying there, right? It can be waiting for a sign, but when you do get a sign or something that feels like a sign, then it's like, well, was that a sign? Because that was there anyway. Okay, I need a sign to see if that was a sign. Then we are avoiding action. And also, it can look like staying in situations you've outgrown because it's safer than change. And again, these are all things we do. This is because of protection. This is because of usually trauma, but it's definitely the nervous system protecting you. That's its job. The nervous system isn't making you quote unquote lazy or procrastinate or whatever you might say to yourself. That's not the intention. It's trying to protect you. If your body associates growth, visibility, doing new things, investing in yourself, whatever it is, as danger, it will literally keep you stuck while making you think that you're like being wise or you're waiting for divine timing or you're researching more so that you can be sure. And listen, I'm not saying to like, invest in stuff willy-nilly. I don't mean that. You know what I'm talking about. It's really about if we don't feel okay in our body now, if we don't feel safe, if we're stuck in fight or flight, if we're not ever having what is it, like the contrast to the go, go, go and the stimulation. If we're not experiencing rest and relaxation, then our body will associate growth and new things and a plan as like overwhelm, as too much. So it will literally keep you in freeze because the thought of doing all these things is too much. And again, like I so have experienced this. And so then we stay in that, like, well, I'm just going to wait for a sign or once I get the plan, right? And these are stopping us from taking action. And this is why learning about your nervous system, regulating your nervous system is non-negotiable. This has become such a focus with clients because we cannot sustain growth from a feeling of lack of safety and being in fight or flight, being in stress. Literally anything more is overwhelming. So when people say like, be high vibe only, or just go out and get it, and you're like, we're maxed out. That was me hyperventilating, by the way. We're maxed out. That's the point where it's not about lazy. It's not about self-sabotage. It's your nervous system trying to protect you. And this is why we need to learn to learn to regulate our nervous system. It's so important. So one of my clients recently came to me in this exact space and she's like, I've been manifesting for years. I've literally done the meditation. She does a lot of my meditation. She journals, she does affirmations. She's like, but nothing huge is shifting. Like I'm in my day and I feel stressed and money sucks and the things that we deal with. And so within minutes of talking, I could sense and feel that freeze, probably like attracts like. I could see because I know what that feels like. And she's absolutely not lazy. My clients are self-led. They are scrappy. They are here for a better life. They are overcomers and self-growth junkies. Definitely not lazy, definitely not unmotivated. But what she was exhausted from carrying old fear and conditioning and everything that was going on in her body where there was just so much happening that, again, a big change equals danger. Investing in yourself equals risky or like, what if this happens or what if that happens or am I worth that? Stepping out in her life felt unsafe. So immediately working together, we went through calming the nervous system and using different techniques so that the micro moments felt more safe and kind of getting into a little bit of a rhythm with that and some momentum, which then starts to unlock energetic patterns, aka like healing blocks and that kind of thing. And pretty soon we're taking more clear aligned action from a place of energy while trusting. We feel that energy, we feel that life force while trusting, not instead of acting. Like we don't trust instead of of acting. We take aligned action while trusting, but only once we've come back into our bodies and learned how to regulate our nervous system. And that has been the hugest thing for me in the last, you guys have seen my journey now, but the last couple of years, I think, is the first time I went really in depth in the nervous system. And it changed everything because I feel like the cosmos, potential, my own grit, my own determination, I've got what it takes to do anything that I need to do, that I want to do, that I desire to do in this lifetime. But being in my body is a whole other can of worms, dealing with chronic pain. And in my earlier life, I had an eating disorder that took over a decade of my life. And, that's a problem being in the body. Being in my own body has been the journey that's the hardest. So looking at the nervous system, to me, how I see it energetically, it's like it bridges your potential with your human body. It grounds you into your body. So it's almost like, yeah, we can't avoid that, unfortunately. So if you've experienced that, like body issues, whether it's gut issues or the way you feel about yourself or an eating disorder or pain or, anything chronic-y in your body in any way, including your brain and your mind and all the things, sometimes coming back into the body is the answer. Because if I just said to you, like, you're unlimited, go for it, like, okay, that fries our system almost, or we just go and shrug it off, right? So this is why it's so important that we're not just trusting the universe, we're actually taking actions, but from a regulated, grounded place. This is just the biggest difference, which is probably why, how I said at the beginning of this episode, I will not record if I didn't say dysregulated, but literally that's what it is. If my energy's not good, if I'm not in it, I will not record, because anything from that place is not productive. It's not productive. It doesn't feel good. It won't translate well. What am I doing? So again, nervous system is the most important, even when you're showing up in a business or in a relationship, trying to communicate or going after your health goals or being grounded with money. It comes back to the body. So I won't keep going on, but I just want to say, with loving awareness, let's become aware of when we're waiting for a sign to see if it's our sign instead of taking action. And I want to say that aligned action, for my clients, we uncover for them their specific aligned actions that are that potent. But in general, it's going to be the thing that grounds you, that makes you feel good. It feels on your heart like the right decision. And so when we start thinking about aligned action, I want you to start micro. So say that you have a goal around being healthier, but you're in freeze and you just don't know if you should go to yoga or weightlifting. You don't know what to do, and you're kind of in that. When we take a micro action, one action that feels good, that's in alignment in the arena of health. So what about just going for like a 10-minute walk? And it's incredible what one micro action, that would be an aligned action, how much difference that makes. I don't know about you, but I go for a walk and I feel like I'm like, oh yeah, oh, it's so important to give back to myself. Whereas like in my house 15 minutes earlier, I'm like, I can't, I have no time, and I'm thawing the beef and I don't know what to cook. And I'm like all stressed. Sometimes we just need to like do one micro action that is in line with what you want. So I want to say about inspired action, because I think I've just been saying aligned action. So inspired action, how I define it, is inspired is in spirit. So it's an action that you feel is aligned. It's a divine action. It's something your highest self would do. And when I say divine action, I don't just mean like praying or something. I mean more like that, going for a walk, like in your highest self life, their health. What are they doing daily? Is it the smoothie for breakfast? Is it making sure to drink more water? Is it a certain supplement that really does make a difference? Is it going for a walk because that feels good? Is it Tuesday night yogas? Like, what does that version of you do? And do one thing. And I find that I stay in freeze, but then if I literally just start going to yoga classes or press play on a YouTube, 25-minute home workout with only weights, I get something out of it. And I'm like, oh, that was so much better than sitting there trying to plan what I should do, right? That is the fine line. And I want to say, in a quote unquote perfect experience, which, that's the goal, who knows? I do believe there's seasons where we're really taking action, and it's like you're starting a business and you're getting up the website and you're creating the course and you're, running the marathon or training at the gym with a trainer or something where you're, bursting forward. And then we need time where we are going for a slow walk in nature or meditating or having our, baths nightly or on Sunday or whatever. Like we have to have that balance. And in that balance, in that feminine pullback energy, there's a flow and there's a trust where we pull back and we trust that we can have a bath and it's safe to rest and we can take a week off and we can have, no work on Sundays or, whatever it is, we can relax and also enjoy our life in that place we're trusting. You don't have to just be at the office to make money and that's all that matters. Like we need to sometimes be resting, rejuvenating, just doing gardening, not because it makes us money, but because it's joyful, right? Getting out the canvas and painting, doing some of the things that just bring you simple joy. That balances it out. And we ground back in and we do these things. We give ourselves a nightly walk after dinner and it feels like, me time, or maybe it's an exercise. You go for a short run every day or something. When you take that time, it changes everything. And from action comes clarity. Okay? You got to trust me if you're like, from action comes clarity. Clarity isn't going to come through a ChatGPT program. Clarity is going to come when you go out for the walk, when you do the workout, and then you go, oh my goodness, this feels so good. Or, yeah, this feels good, but I actually would like something that's a little more this. And that starts to unfurl a path. It starts to become unfolded, like the path reveals itself as you walk it, not as you stand at the base of the path with a map going like, but what should we do? Like, I want you to really think about that with love and compassion for yourself. We don't want to be passive in our life to the point where we're not taking actions because we're scared. And instead, we got to just get out there. And there's a section of life that I think we got to just throw spaghetti at the wall. Like, we just need to see what sticks. You might do one workout on YouTube and you're like, yeah, that was good. But like that girl or the guy that led it, it was a little bit much. Let's find something a little bit more of this, right? A lot of times we're like, I don't know what to do. But you can learn a lot, even if it's like, I don't know how to start a website. You can also YouTube that. There's a lot you can find out apparently from YouTube. But seriously, we can start to take action, get out and do the walk. Take the action one step at a time. And your walk today doesn't need to be 45 minutes followed up by 25 minutes of stretching. Like we make things have to be such a big deal, but it's not. Inspired action is action that is coming from the spirit inside of you that loves you, that is rooting you on, that is giving you clarity, that is saying like, yeah, here's a bunch of things you could do, but in love, like there's possibilities everywhere. And so if you feel like you've been trying to manifest for years and you do a lot of, even if it is meditations or journaling or self-growth, you're consuming podcasts and doing affirmations, but nothing huge is shifting, often we are at an action plateau. And those are times when I honestly rock myself into, or not rock, but I'm going to say like submerge myself into something else. So not that long ago, I just randomly took a breathwork course, like how to teach it, different breathwork, not even to start to monetize it, but just because I wanted to expand my skills. Sometimes if I get bored, I'll go into a coach's container that's a week or two or a month or two to give myself a little pep, or I'll get into, listening to something like Tony Robbins or Abraham or something every day for a week to just really activate myself. So sometimes we do have to pull ourselves out of a freeze, but the key when we're working with the nervous system is about incremental and titration. So we are quote unquote pulling ourselves out very slowly with micro actions that feel good. We practice safety and regulation in our body, and we acclimate to new levels. We become able to hold more. And if hold more doesn't resonate with you, it's like you go for a walk, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, or whatever. And then you do that for 2 weeks. And pretty soon that's your new resting, where you're like, oh, yeah, okay, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now you're holding that in your life. It's normal for you to go out for that many walks, sometimes more, sometimes if you're away, maybe a little less, but you come back to it. It's the new normal. You are holding the capacity of somebody who walks that many days a week as your resting point. And then if you wanted to, because you had, fitness goals or you're going to run a 10K, then you could up it. But that is the key, is titration, taking the action and getting ourselves out of that funk. And then ironically, you'll see more signs and feel more clarity and more support as you get out there, as you start, as you just take an action. It doesn't even have to cost anything. It's about inspired. What do I know I need to do to move through this? Because I don't really want to be in the goo anymore. That's where I get to, where I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. I have cried. I've given myself compassion and pity and healing and attention, and I'm ready to take a new action. I'm ready to burn whatever it was down to the ground and rise up like a phoenix. And that is stepping out and stepping up, but in a way where I'm also training my body to be able to handle it. Okay, so I hope that you feel me, and this is exactly what we're going to do in the retreat, because let's be real, you're powerful. You already know how to set intentions. You've heard 1,000,007 people say to be high vibe only, right? High vibe only. You don't need another manifestation journal or vision board, even though they're fun. You need tools, techniques, and a space to learn how to do it, to regulate your nervous system, to receive without sabotaging and shutting down, to stay grounded while you expand, to tune in, to branch out. And I know that when you guys are leaving at the end of it, you'll be not just inspired, but activated and resourced and feeling that deep clarity, that deep confidence of, yes, I can do this. I am a receiving magnet. Let's go. So if you've been trusting the universe and still wondering why things aren't changing, I invite you to come to the retreat. I would be so excited to squeeze you in person and go through this experience with you. All right, that's it for today. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thanks so much for tuning into the show, and I'll see you in the next recording.